Today, we're cracking open the oldest case file in existence, the origin story of, well, us.
I mean, it's a huge question, right? It gets to the very heart of who we are. And to even begin to answer it, we have to become detectives, piecing together tiny clues scattered across continents and millennia. So yeah, our cold case is a big one, 300,000 years old, to be exact. And you know what? All the evidence, every single clue points to one place, Africa. So let's start digging into our first piece of evidence. Okay, before we can really get to know our ancestors, we have to picture the world they lived in. And let me tell you, it was a completely different planet from the one we know today. Just try to imagine this, a world that was always changing. The climate was swaying like a pendulum between brutal ice ages and then warmer spells. One moment, you've got lush forests, the next, they've turned into dry savannas. And the neighbors? Giant elephants, massive lions, real megafauna. This wasn't just a home, it was a brutal proving ground. Just surviving was a daily battle. And here's something that just blows my mind. We were not alone, not by a long shot. Our direct ancestors, Homo sapiens, were sharing the landscape with other human-like species, what we call hominins. So forget that simple chart you saw in school, the one with the monkeys slowly standing up straight. The reality was more like a crowded, complicated family reunion with lots of different branches all trying to make it. So, you might be asking, how on earth do we know any of this? Well, that brings us to our first exhibit, and it's the most solid evidence we've got. Clues literally written in bone. All right, check this out. Each of these discoveries is like a pin on the map of our origins. The trail really kicks off in a place called Jebel Irhoud in Morocco, with the oldest Homo sapiens fossils ever found. We're talking over 300,000 years old. That find was a total game changer. Then, as you move forward in time, you see more finds popping up in places like Ethiopia. And what this tells us is incredible. Our species wasn't just chilling in one small part of Africa. No, we were already spreading out, exploring this massive continent. So, what are these bones actually telling us? Well, they're basically the blueprint for us. You start to see a rounder skull, which means more room for a bigger, more powerful brain. And that's the engine that would drive everything. Our faces got a bit smaller and flatter, and our skeletons became lighter, more efficient. Think of it this way. These weren't just minor cosmetic changes. These were critical hardware upgrades that set the stage for everything that came next. Okay, let's move on to our next piece of evidence. Because, being human isn't just about what we look like. It's about what we can do, what our minds can create. And for that, we look at the incredible prehistoric toolkit our ancestors left for us. This is really the dawn of culture. Now, we're not just talking about banging two rocks together here. This method, called the Levallois technique, was absolutely revolutionary. It was kind of like prehistoric 3D printing. The person making the tool had to see the final product inside the stone before they even started, and then follow a bunch of precise steps to get it out. This shows a massive cognitive leap forward. It's proof of planning, abstract thought. This is a modern mind at work. And this quote really nails it. These weren't just survival tools, like a prehistoric Swiss Army knife. They represent something so much bigger, the very first whispers of art, symbolism, and community. This huge jump in technology points to a mind that's thinking about more than just staying alive. It's a mind capable of appreciating beauty and meaning. And the evidence for this modern mind just keeps piling up. We see the controlled use of fire, not just for staying warm, but for cooking, which totally changed our diet. We find pigments, like ochre, probably used for body paint or decoration. We even find shell beads and engravings. And maybe most important of all, we see proof that people were working together, hunting in groups, sharing their food. This is the very beginning of society as we know it. All right, our last piece of evidence, and honestly, this might be the most powerful one yet. Why? Because it's not buried in some desert. It's inside every single one of us, right now. We're talking about DNA. So, get this. By tracing a special kind of DNA that only passes from mother to child, geneticists were able to follow a trail back and back and back through thousands of generations. And for every single person alive today, that trail leads to one woman, one single ancestor who lived in Africa about 200,000 years ago. They call her mitochondrial Eve. Now, just to be clear, she wasn't the only woman alive back then, not at all, but she is the only one from that time whose maternal line has continued unbroken all the way to us. It's this incredible, undeniable genetic thread that connects all of humanity back to a shared African home. And this genetic trail lets us map out the absolutely unbelievable journey of our species. Look, for most of our history, we're talking over 200,000 years, the human story was an African story. That's it. But then, around 70,000 years ago, a small group decided to venture out. And it wasn't the first time people had left, but this time it worked. This time they stuck the landing. And in what is just a blink of an eye in geological time, these incredibly adaptable people spread to every corner of the globe.
So, there you have it. The evidence is in. The bones, the stones, the DNA, they all tell the exact same story. So let's wrap this case up. Let's talk about the final verdict. What was it that made us, us?
So what was our secret sauce? What was the winning combination? Well, it wasn't just one thing. It was this powerful trifecta. First, insane adaptability, the ability to thrive in any environment. Second, a powerful brain, our ability to problem solve and invent our way out of trouble. And third, a deep, deep need for social cooperation, the understanding that we are always stronger together. And with that, case closed. Every single piece of evidence points in one direction. Our story is an African story. It's where we were born, it's where we figured out how to be human, and it was the launching pad for our journey across the entire planet. It all starts there. Which really leaves us with one last big question to think about. If our ancestors' greatest superpower was their ability to adapt to a constantly changing world, what's ours? As we face our own crazy, unprecedented challenges today, you have to wonder, what is our greatest adaptation going to be?